So we're looking at SAUNA. The SAUNA is an easy difficulty Windows machine that features Active Directory enumeration and exploitation. Possible usernames can be derived from the employee full names listed on the website. With these usernames, an AS-REP roasting attack can be performed, which we'll explain when we get there, which results in a hash for an account that doesn't require Kerberos pre-authentication. This hash can be subjected to an offline brute force attack in order to recover the plain text password for a user that is able to winrm to the box. Running winPEAS reveals that another system user has been configured to automatically log in, and it identifies their password. This second user also has Windows remote management permissions. Bloodhound reveals that this user can use DS replication get all changes extended right, which allows them to dump password hashes from the domain controller in a DCSync attack. Executing this attack returns the hash of the primary domain administrator, which can be used within packet psexec.py in order to gain a shell on the box as anti-authority system, which is the highest level privileged user. Alright, so we will go into hack the box, make a directory called SAUNA. Alright. So we'll begin with, we should ping first. Yep, so it's alive. A cool trick to know whether it's a Windows box is knowing that the time to live is 127. So Windows boxes have a time to live when they send a reply that is 128 responses. It's down 1 because it's come to us, and so it's died once. And I think it's 64 for Linux. So we know that it's alive. So we'll start Nmap -p- for open, because we're only interested in what's open at the moment. Minimum rate 5,000. That's 5,000 packets that we're sending per second. That's our IP address. And because it's a Windows box, we want to stop the ping sweep, because Windows usually drops pings. It didn't just then, but just in case it does it again, we'll do a verbose output normal, and we'll call this init nmap. So now what we'll do is we'll cat that, and then I found this awesome command that what it does is it breaks down your Nmap scan. So what I just did was I just wanted to know what was open, and then from there we'll get all of these port numbers to run into our next scan. So that's what this does. And we'll count ports, and we have all of our ports here. So we'll copy that, and then we'll go nmap -p -a, because we want to scan everything. And what was our IP address? 10.10.10.175. And so we already see that there's port 80 that is, we have HTTP, we have DNS here, that's what 53 is. 88 is Kerberos, Microsoft RPC, is 135. We've got NetBIOS 139, which pairs with SMB on 445, LDAP. And all of these ports, kpassword, all of these, and LDAP SSL, show us that this is an Active Directory machine. We have Windows Service Managers. So while we're waiting for that to load, we will have a look and see if we can find anything. Oh, there we go. That was really abrupt. In this case, we will go away. We'll have a look. So we've got 53. Yep, DNS. We've got Microsoft IIS, which is a web server, Microsoft's web server. And then we have Egotistical Bank, which is hilarious. Off the top of my head, version 10 isn't really vulnerable to anything like any kind of exploits, so we're not going to be looking down that way. Kerberos, RPC, NetBIOS, Active Directory, LDAP. We have a domain here, so that's something we can note down. And another RPC, LDAP. What was 5985? Does anyone know what port 5985 is for? I can't remember off the top of my head. I feel like it's like another RPC port, but I'm not sure. WinRM. That's why I was familiar. Communicates over HTTP, which is interesting. All right, so we know that message signing is enabled and required, which means that we can't do a SMB relay attack because it's required. And that's it. We have a trace route here which explains like how many hops it is between us and the machine. So there's 2. It goes to the network gateway and then to the actual machine itself. So we don't have a direct link to the machine. All right. So my first thought is to do 2 things. One is to run ffuf. To enumerate and see if we have any kind of directories that may be of interest. And we'll go with the medium list. I think that's right. Cool, and we have funky. I hate that. That's a little bit better. So we'll let that run and we'll do some manual work on it. So we just have a typical website for a bank. And we just have like filler text here. More filler text. That's pretty funny. Our skills, simple websites. You're a bank. You're not like a, what is this? This is hilarious. services we reply, lorem ipsum, dolor sit amet. I wish I could speak Latin. From customer testimonial, I got a loan and can't pay it back. I can't even get a ticket to roast my chestnuts, which is hilarious. I feel like this is a clue. All right, let's have a look. Our mission. So we got to the about page. Same kind of thing. Meet the team. Meet the team. So many bank account managers, but only one security manager. Sounds about right. So we have a Fergus Smith, Sean Coins, Sophie Driver, Bowie Taylor, Hugo Bear, and Stephen Kerb. So we will note these people down in a second, because if that's the team, then they will have accounts on Active Directory. So what we'll do is we'll create let's call it staff txt. So we got Fergus Smith, Sean Collins, dang it, Bowie Taylor, Sophie Driver, Hugo Bear, and Stephen Kerb. Alright, so usually, like, at this point, I think, okay, how would a company create user accounts? Like, what kind of usernames could they do? Like, what combinations? So we could either go, and we could go like Stephen.Kerb. We could do a Stephen K. So these are our options. The other option is we get rid of that, and it would be a S Kerb. And that's kind of like the options we have for creating usernames. S.Kerb. Well, we can try that. So what I'll do is we will create another list. And I just shut that. That was stupid. It was E. Yeah, great. All right. So here we will go seeing potential users. And that sounds terrible. Pot users. That's funny as. All right, so we can go f.smith, s.collins, b.taylor. So what we're doing is we're trying to figure out, so I'm going to try to run this on the domain, on the server, to see if I can like figure out whose accounts are actually available to us. So making up a user list, like sometimes if you're doing this as like a real pen test, you would have to find like who the users are. So here, we know that this is the team. These are the people that work at this company. We assume that they use computers. And so we can guess that their usernames will have something to do with their names, with their actual names. You know, that's just what you do with normal usernames at a business. And so trying to figure out like what the combination is that their business uses is like important to be able to then, if we want to perform a brute force attack, we can then run these with a password list and see if we can get something. Let's move it from pot users to users 1, and we'll make another list, users 2. I don't know. So we can run that without it. Oh no, it's coins. What am I doing? Coins. Yeah, I'll run that too and we'll see if we can get... Is that everyone? 6. Users 3. So we got Fergus, Sean, Bowie, Sophie, Hugo, and Stephen. All right, so we have three lists. We got users 1, which is with the dot, users 2, which is without the dot, and then users, which is just first names. All right, so we've got that. Did we get anything from this? So we just got CSS, fonts, images, fonts, CSS, images, and that's it. So for those new ffuf does directory busting. What it does is you put a list, so this word list here, in, and it will replace this word fuzz, which with each word of this word list, it will send a request to the server and it will give us a response back if it's there or not. So we're just enumerating without having to like click around, and also if there's anything hidden, like no links, but it like the page exists, then it will find it because it's making requests for the server. So we found images, we found CSS, fonts, and that's it. So it's just tried it with uppercase and lowercase. So it's not really anything helpful. We can like have a look. And it says it's forbidden. It is forbidden. And yeah, so nothing helpful for us. All right, so what we'll do now is we will clear this screen. So we want to try to do a little bit of brute forcing. I'll check. We want to know kind of as well a little bit more about the machine. So I like to run crack map exec on SMB 10.10.10.175. Hey Tuasu. Torsu. Welcome. So we know the machine's called SAUNA, domain is egotistical bank, signing is true, SMB version 1 is false. Windows 10 build. Alright, so now we can try to brute force this. So what we'll do, if I get my notes up, so we'll use Kerbrute, which I don't have. And quickly download it. pip3 install. Oh, you're a lifesaver. Yeah. You always have to run it as sudo. I always forget. Cool. All right. Kerbrute. User enum. Actually, let's see what else they do. So we'll use the users because we're using a file. I'm using Terminator. And I think I have it set with Oh My Fish. It's been ages since I set it up. So we'll go Kerbrute enum users. User enum, sorry. And then we'll use the domain, which is egotistical -bank.local. And we'll go users 1. And then we'll give it the domain controller IP address 75. All right. Domain. Whoops. What did I do? I don't think I need to do this anymore. DC IP. There we go. Okay, no passwords were discovered, so that was that one. Okay, so we found a user. We have a user, F Smith. No pre-auth. Let's have a look and run our last list just in case. No passwords discovered. Okay, cool. So now we know that this doesn't have any pre-auth, which means, take us to our other screen. We can do an AS-REP roast attack. So I'm just going to read this little thing. So an AS-REP roasting is an attack that is often overlooked and extremely common. So it's an account that does not require pre-authentication. Pre-authentication is the first step in Kerberos authentication, and its main role is to try prevent against brute force password guessing attacks, which is what we're going to do. Typically during pre-auth, a user will enter his creds, which will be used to encrypt a timestamp, and the DC domain controller will decrypt it to validate that the correct creds were used. If the DC verifies okay, it will issue a ticket granting ticket. That's what TGT stands for. However, if pre-authentication is disabled, it would allow an attacker to request a ticket for any user, and the domain controller would simply return a ticket granting ticket, which will be encrypted similar to the Kerberos attack, which can be cracked offline. So basically, usually the way to mitigate this is to make sure that your pre-authentication is turned on. Since it's not on F Smith, it means that we can perform this attack, get the hash, and then crack it offline, and then log into his account using his password. So what we're going to do is we'll go vim valid users, and we'll enter in F Smith. All right, so we've got that. Cool. So now we're going to use one of the inpacker tools, get np-users.py, and we'll go egotistical bank.local / F Smith, because we know what it is, and then format Hashcat, which will help us then crack it offline, and then output file AS-REP hash. I think that's correct. Cool. All right. Users file, obviously. Do I need to add him to itsy host? Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. And I feel like I'm getting the syntax wrong. Unless I just put the... $75. Oh, do I need to DC up here? Yeah, there we go. That's what I'm doing wrong. Hello? Oh. Ah, there we go. So I didn't need to put no pass. So I just needed to specify the IP address of the domain controller. Then what this does is it prepends this to the valid users. So we only have one user, so it only went through once. Put it in the Hashcat format and then outputted it into this file. And so now this is the ticket. So we can crack this, and to find the thing, we need AS-REP. Is that the right one? Yep. That is incorrect. So to find what module we want to use, we just grep, and I usually do like the first couple letters of the thing. So it's 18200. So we go hashcat.-m 18200, and then we go AS and user share word list rocku and -o. So we've got our ticket here and we've found and cracked our password. So the stroke's 23. We used the rocku word list, which compared this hash and each password within that list. And we've got some valid cred. So we'll change this. That is not right. That's all good. We're all learners here. So my thinking was kind of, if you can just join a page like Hack the Box and learn how to access someone's systems, surely that vulnerability is well known and patched out there. Kind of making the knowledge obsolete or something. Kind of, you don't really realize until you start like diving into this that there's a lot of things that come out of the box that's just vulnerable. Like Active Directory is one of those things. Like you just, like I'm studying how to do this kind of thing, and you just find that you're not even exploiting vulnerabilities, you're exploiting features of how things are done. Like this is not what we're doing here. Isn't we're doing like an amazing hack. What we're doing is we're abusing something, a misconfiguration, to be able to get this password. So now what I can do is I can log in with, that is too much. With this, we'll go user, and we've got a shell on the system. Which tool is that? But yeah, Psi Omegas, it's like, seriously, these are good questions. But like, I've talked to like pen testers and that kind of thing, and it's like rampant. Things like Active Directory, there's so many people who just set it up and like set and forget and don't realize. People that won't patch like websites, or like when you're designing software, they don't think that how you pass input is a problem or whatever. So it's just, there's just a whole bunch of ways. So legacy systems still contain vulnerabilities, for example, and if we ethical hackers have some exposure and experience such as these platforms, we're able to help improve those vulnerabilities through pen testing efforts. Exactly. And then disclosure, explaining those things, and telling the people with money that they like need to fix the stuff because it's putting other people in danger. So like, let's take this company, for example. This is a banking company. Their Active Directory system is like vulnerable. We're inside. I can like look at the stuff. So let's see. So we have our user flag here. So these, like, when we do hack the box and all of that, they have like user flags, things to prove that you've made it to a certain point. This then goes, it comes up with a little code and you just submit it here. So you can kind of keep track of it. All right, so oh, access is denied. So we have an administrator and a service loan manager. So what we'll do is I'll add him to the list. All right, and now we will get winPEAS. I don't have winPEAS on this system. winPEAS. So we're going to use winPEAS to enumerate. So it's a script. For those that don't know, winPEAS is an awesome enumeration script. So once you get on a system, you need to know, like, what is this? What am I looking at? What kind of vulnerabilities exist? What kind of misconfigurations exist? Let's have a quick look. And so winPEAS, which is Windows Privilege Escalation Awesome Scripts, is a script that runs and it will query the machine and kind of figure out, like, okay, what is present on this box that we can abuse, basically. Let's go back here. because we're in PowerShell, we will just copy this. And it looks like the matrix. We'll start a Python server. Is that? That's not being used. Great. We'll cd back into fsmith down loads. All right, so we've downloaded that. All right, so it starts running the script. Additional Win logon credentials check, SVC loan manager, and what looks like we have a password. Go back to that password. All right, so we'll try. What we got? While that is still running, we'll go like that. And see if we can log in. And we can. So we can get another shell there. See if we can move into So I'm not able to view inside the administrator directory. So we'll need to now perform, I think, I'll kill this, and we'll use Bloodhound. So now that we've got a password here and this service loan manager, we will use Bloodhound to see if we can get a little bit more information about our system. How do we do this? All right, so we need to Bloodhound. We want the domain. What are we doing? We'll just go user. So -c is the collection type. We want to collect everything that we can. And -d for domain. Yeah, that's right. That's right. So Arel says, now you're about to enum Active Directory for getting into the domain controller. Bloodhound will help you not only enumerate the objects, but also find vulnerabilities and hint you on how to exploit them, right? Yeah, 100%. And we need... put the IP name server, it's NS. Cool, all right, so it's working. We found 7 users, 52 groups. So what Bloodhound Python does is it will send a whole bunch of queries similar to what we did before with winPEAS, but it will then create a file for us, a bunch of files for us to then use with the program Bloodhound. So yeah, a little bit. We don't, like, they don't cover it heaps in TCM's course, but there is a little bit there. And then actually on my first stream, I tried using Bloodhound and it failed abysmally because it was the new version. And so then good old overgrown carrot showed me that you could use the Python script, which is fantastic. You don't have to like upload anything to your Windows machine. It does it all remotely, and then it puts all the files on your machine rather than on the target, which I think is it's just cleaner, you know? He's been super helpful. Cool. All right, so we've got our server working. And now run Bloodhound. Yeah, and we have the last machine we were working on, so we'll clear the database. We'll upload some data. For those who've never used Bloodhound before, it's an awesome tool. It will basically visualize what in graph form, like what's on this domain and the relationships users and group policy objects have to each other, it's just flipping insane. All right, so no domain trust. Does anyone know how to like get it to just display the stuff out there? Oh, okay, so what we can do is we can have a look. So this Kerberos interaction, we're just listing all the users that are AS-REP roastable, which is what we did before. As we can see, F. Smith, egotistical bank there. So we can set him as owned. And we'll go shortest path to domain admin. So this will show us a list. So we've got F Smith here, so we've made it onto the system. We've also got loan manager here, so we can add him as owned. And we have these groups and our administrator. This is high value right there. Domain admins group is also high value. So this will kind of outline the kinds of attacks that we can run. Here we have the way for us to progress because, okay, so let me just step back. So this user here, service loan manager, falls under the egotistical bank domain, but we want to get to domain admin. The way we can do that is by traveling this way. We perform a DCSync attack, which, let me just see if I can open it up. So it says the user SVC loan manager has DS replication get changes and DS replication get changes all privilege on the domain. These two privileges allow a principal to perform a DCSync attack. So this will kind of outline how to do it. So we'll use the Linux one, which is the secret dumps. Let me see if I can get. So the theory behind it. DCSync is a technique that uses Windows Domain Controller's API to simulate the replication process from a remote domain controller. This attack can lead to the compromise of major credential material, such as the Kerberos ticket keys, used legitimately for ticket creation, but also for tickets foraging by attackers. The consequences of this attack are similar to an ntds.dit dump and parsing, but the practical aspects differ. DCSync is not a simple copy and parse of the ntds.dit file. It's a ds get nc changes operation transported in an RPC request to the DRSU API, so Directory Replication Service API, to replicate data, including credentials from a domain controller. So it requires domain admin privileges to succeed. More specifically, it needs the following extended privileges, which is what we have. Members of the administrators, domain admins, enterprise admins, and domain controllers group have these privileges by default. In some cases, overprivileged accounts can be abused to grant controlled objects the right to DCSync. There we go. So DCSync, what we're going to do is we'll abuse this right, and so I've performed this manually before. Basically what it is you create another user that has domain admin permissions, and then that user you use to then dump the password hashes from the domain administrator group. And that will give us that. We'll be using an automated way, which is using the secret dumps Python script by Impacket, and it will give us the hashes basically. So this is the, what's it called? The syntax. All right. So we go secret. The rest. And then the password, which is, where are you? That, and then we have at 10.10.10.175. And there we go. So we've been able to get the admin hash, guest user, Kerberos ticket creating ticket hash for that service. We've got H Smith, which is another user. So we've got his hash, which seems to have the same password as fsmith. We've got Kerberos tickets. So we've pretty much owned this system. Which is exciting. Because we can do that, like we can do a pass if it's a version 1, right? So let's get out of there. Let's try this. No. Oh, so we do both. All right, so let's try to get this. So psexec, we want to use this. I'm so sick of typing egotistical bank .local. And then we go hashes. Hashes. And where are you? So this, what we're going to do now is we're performing a pass the hash attack. So Windows has this thing where you can, and it's like, if you configure it right, it doesn't work. But basically you can pass a password hash. You don't need to know like the actual password, but you can pass the hash to authenticate to the machine. And I've got my wrong user there. I do plan to go for the OSCP one day. And I can't spell, so I'm gonna fail. And successful. All right, so let's, who am I? So we're NT authority system, which means we're root. And just to do the old Where's the flag? And here we have the root flag. So we've enumerated usernames on the website. We've done some Kerberos enumeration with Kerbrute. We performed an AS-REP roast attack. We cracked some hashes. We used winPEAS. We found the service loan manager account and found password sitting out there. We used Bloodhound to figure out that they had a permission to basically, in a sense, create a new account that was domain administrator level. Then with that, dump the hashes and Kerberos tickets. And then we use the hash for the administrator to log in as the administrator. And that's how you become domain administrator